For decades, the world knew him as elegance incarnate. A velvet voice, flawless tuxedos, and an image polished so bright it felt untouchable. Frank Sinatra wasn't just a singer, he was America's soundtrack. But behind the applause, another story was quietly forming, one the public never heard. Recently declassified files from the Federal Bureau of Investigation reveal a shadowed version of the legend, buried beneath redactions and forgotten file numbers. Sinatra's name appears repeatedly, underlined, circled, flagged with urgency. To fans, he was a cultural icon. To federal investigators, he was something far more complex. A potential influence hub. A man whose presence altered outcomes. One memo, hidden deep inside a file once sealed in a secure vault, forced agents to reopen a case they believed had long gone cold. The mystery wasn't rumor anymore. It was documentation. And it began not with music, but with a phone call no one expected. Los Angeles, 1959. A hotel manager contacted authorities with an unusual complaint. Sinatra had checked in, but the men accompanying him didn't behave like fans or staff. They never signed the guest ledger. They spoke in coded phrases. They demanded privacy with a confidence that suggested consequences. The Bureau took interest. Sinatra wasn't just performing anymore, he was becoming a node of influence. Surveillance logs soon filled with patterns. Meetings at odd hours. Unregistered guests. Envelopes exchanged beneath restaurant tables. Agents recorded conversations through thin walls, noting unfamiliar faces and familiar names already linked to racketeering and casino laundering. Weekend trips to Las Vegas aligned perfectly with known mob sit-downs. Private lounges locked from the inside. Rumors surfaced that permits stalled for months suddenly cleared with one phone call. Yet every time investigators prepared to act, something strange happened. Witnesses recanted. Evidence vanished. Paper trails ended abruptly, as if burned. Despite the growing suspicion, Sinatra's public life soared. Albums shattered records. Presidents invited him to galas. Magazine covers crowned him royalty. But while the world celebrated, agents watched. One file entry reads, "Subject appears aware of surveillance." Unbothered. That detail disturbed investigators most. Why would a man under constant federal observation smile so easily into cameras? The answer seemed to lie in who stood beside him. Photographs show Sinatra flanked not only by actors and politicians, but by individuals the Bureau labeled high-value targets. Meetings behind closed casino doors. Favors offered quietly and repaid loudly. The deeper agents dug, the clearer one pattern became. Sinatra didn't fear scrutiny. He seemed insulated from it. Protected by something beyond fame. Or someone. And then came the night that shifted suspicion into alarm. A Nevada back room, restricted access, and a smile that followed him back into the light. The room was supposed to be off-limits. Only 3 people were authorized to enter. 2 were under active federal investigation. The third was Sinatra. Surveillance logs show him entering calmly and exiting 20 minutes later, smiling. 1 week afterward, a casino license renewal previously marked for denial was approved without discussion. Agents stamped the file in red. Escalate. Something had happened inside that room. Something no one dared document plainly. Buried deeper in the file, a handwritten margin note shattered the myth entirely: he's not just connected. He's involved. That sentence changed everything. A grainy photograph later resurfaced, taken inside a Vegas lounge since demolished. Sinatra leaned forward, listening, not performing. Across from him sat 2 men later indicted for racketeering and extortion. Next to their names, Sinatra's was circled 3 times. Present during negotiation. Negotiation of what, the file never says. Witnesses interviewed decades later under anonymity described that night as tense, transactional, and final. Discussions of casino ownership, entertainment bookings, and union cooperation unfolded not as requests, but ultimatums. Sinatra wasn't there to sing. He was there to influence. Flight records matched syndicate meetings. Hotel suites were booked under aliases. Phone calls were placed minutes after indictments quietly disappeared. A former casino manager recalled that when Sinatra entered a room, the lighting felt warmer. When his companions entered, the room felt smaller. The implication was unavoidable. His access wasn't earned by talent alone. It was granted. Another interview, this time with a Chicago nightclub security guard, described Sinatra being escorted through a private entrance into a back office. Voices rose. Ashtrays slammed. 10 minutes later, Sinatra exited calm, jacket smooth, smile intact. Others stayed behind. The next day, a rival performer abruptly retired and vanished from headlines entirely. Investigators marked the correlation as suspicious. No action taken. Each time pressure rose towards Sinatra, someone higher intervened. Agents began to believe Sinatra wasn't merely brushing shoulders with organized crime. He was a bridge. A trusted voice connecting entertainment, politics, and men who made problems disappear. The triangle began to emerge clearly in the files. One mob boss. One senator. One entertainer. Protection, power, immunity. The most chilling event unfolded in October at the Sands Hotel. After a performance, Sinatra slipped into a private suite reserved under an alias. 6 men entered one by one, each linked to syndicates from Chicago to New York. What followed lasted 22 minutes. Shouting. Furniture scraping. Witnesses later claimed Sinatra said, "You either open the door, or they close it for you." The next morning, blocked licenses were approved. Contracts rewritten. Silence restored. The Bureau's tone changed after that night. Reports grew cautious. Language softened. One memo stated plainly, "Sinatra now protected. Do not pursue unless ordered." It wasn't clearance. It was surrender. An investigator pushing the case was abruptly transferred. Before leaving, he sealed a handwritten note in an envelope, "If Sinatra falls, others fall with him." Weeks later came December 8, 1963. Sinatra received the call that shattered his composure. His son, Frank Sinatra Jr., kidnapped from a hotel in Lake Tahoe. The nation panicked. The official story blamed desperate amateurs. But Bureau notes told a darker story. Agents were already monitoring figures present at the Nevada meeting weeks earlier. One line reads, "Timing unlikely coincidence." Another suggests outside orchestration. The kidnappers later received unusually lenient sentences. Sinatra himself requested reduced charges. That request unsettled investigators. Why would a father soften justice unless pressure came from somewhere beyond grief? Phone logs revealed Sinatra made calls the night of the kidnapping not to police, but to known persons of interest. Panic or protocol? When his son was released, ransom details were smoothed before questions could form. Agents believed the kidnapping served as a message. Compliance reminder. Afterward, Sinatra's ties deepened. Performances increased at mob-linked casinos. Political favors multiplied. Influence became currency. The Bureau began exploring a possibility once considered unthinkable. Sinatra as an asset. Not an informant, but a conduit. A go-between when law enforcement needed indirect access. A retired agent later said, Sinatra didn't snitch. He balanced. Investigations shifted after meetings he attended. Charges vanished. Others became targets. Sinatra's legal risks evaporated whenever they neared exposure. Fame didn't protect him.